What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Pokemon TCG video from Pocket Monster Gaming. Today, I'm going to be going over 3 more budget decks. This time, they're all centered around a Pokemon from Fusion Strike. These decks are affordable, cheap, and they still pack a punch. So let's get right into our first deck. Alright, let's get started with our first deck. Our first deck is Deoxys. It's a super cool deck from Fusion Strike because its main Pokemon and attacker is Deoxys, which is all 3 battle styles. If you're a fan of battle styles, then this deck is for you. It takes advantage of Fusion Strike, Single Strike, and Rapid Strike, and utilizes all those cards into Deoxys' attack, Photon Boost. It hits for 80 base damage, but then adds 80 if Deoxys has some Fusion Strike energy attached. So we can add even more damage to Deoxys with Single Strike Energy, which is attachable to Deoxys because it's a Single Strike Pokemon. So in this deck there's a 3-3 Houndoom line to accelerate those Single Strike Energy, and there's also a 2-2 Octillery line. We've probably never seen Octillery and Houndoom in the same deck because they have conflicting battle styles, but Deoxys takes advantage of all the battle styles, so we can use Octillery and Houndoom in this deck for some serious synergy. Rapid Strike Search on Octillery can help us find some cards that we need that are Rapid Strike. It also helps us find Deoxys because it is a Rapid Strike Pokemon. And as our main draw engine in the deck, we use Snorlax because it's so awesome for any single prize Pokemon deck. Some of the highlighted trainer cards in here are definitely Power Tablet to increase Deoxys' damage output. We also play 4 copies of Urn of Vitality to recycle those Single Strike Energy after they're discarded when we have them attached on Deoxys. And then we have 2 different kinds of stadiums. We have 2 Tower of Darkness, which when in play allows us to discard some excess Single Strike cards from our hand for some extra draw power, and 2 copies of Tower of Waters to remove the retreat cost of Deoxys. Then we play 2 copies of Elisa Sparkle to make sure we're accelerating that Fusion Strike energy, 1 copy of Kieran's Conviction, which can be used late game to fix some math on Deoxys' attack, 1 copy of Karina's Focus for some extra draw power, and it's searchable with Octillery. And then our energies, we play all 3 battle style energies. So we have 4 Rapid Strike energy, which when we use it on Deoxys can help us fill up its attack cost quicker because Rapid Strike energy does only cost 1, but it provides 2. We have 4 copies of Single Strike Energy, obviously to increase the damage output on Deoxys. 160 is nice, but adding some more of Power Tablet and Single Strike Energy can mean some big numbers. And then 4 copies of Fusion Strike Energy, which is obviously essential because we need to have this on Deoxys to get that bonus 80 damage. So that's Deoxys. It's an affordable deck and it's really fun to play utilizing all these different battle styles. Now let's jump into deck number 2. Our second deck is built around Accelgor and its teammate Jumpluff. If you want to see a more in-depth deck profile, head over to PokeDripDrop where he made a video on this deck. I'll put a link to the description for that video. It's super cool. He does some gameplay with it too. It's awesome. He's one of my favorite PokeTubers. But I'm going to give you guys a brief deck profile for this one because it is a pretty solid budget deck. So we have a 4 for Accelgor line. It is a Fusion Strike Pokemon, has 90 HP, and Ninja Tornado appears to cost 1 Grass Energy and 2 Colorless. It hits for 120 base damage. It says if this Pokemon moved from your bench to the active spot this turn, this attack can be used for 1 Grass Energy. So I gotta say, being able to hit for 120 for 1 Grass Energy is not too bad. And on top of that, Accelgor is a single prize Pokemon, so if it gets knocked out, our opponent doesn't get to take very many prizes for it. It's also Fusion Strike, so this attack's damage can be boosted by Power Tablet. Then, to support Accelgor, we play a 3-3-3 line of Jumpluff. This is really cool. So Hoppip is a Rapid Strike Pokemon, and we start with Hoppip. Then we evolve into Skiploom, and we can use its Solar Evolution ability. When you attach an energy card from your hand to this Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and put it onto this Pokemon to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. So Skiploom is kind of a rare candy in of itself, so when we play it to evolve Hoppip, we can attach an energy and then go straight into Jumpluff that turn. And that energy is all we need to use Spinning Attack to hit for 60. And Jumpluff's ability, Fluffy Barrage, says this Pokemon may attack twice each turn. If the first attack knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon, you may attack again after your opponent chooses a new active Pokemon. So once again, we're hitting for about 120 for 1 grass energy, which is pretty awesome. There's also 1 copy of Cricketune in here for some extra draw power. Then we obviously play 4 copies of Level Ball, because except for Cricketune, all our Pokemon have 90 or less HP, so Level Ball is an easy 4 copy inclusion. 4 copies of Power Tablet to boost Accelgor's attack damage. There's 4 copies of Quick Ball. We play 3 copies of Turffield Stadium to find all these grass evolution Pokemon that we play in the deck. 3 Boss's Orders, 3 Marnie, 4 Research, 1 Raihan to kind of recover after one of our Pokemon is knocked out. And then we have 2 copies of Vitality Band, which is a really cool card for this deck. This is in here solely for Jump Off. So when we attack with Jump Off, we often think of it as just hitting for 120 for 1 grass energy, because most of the time we're not going to knock out our opponent's active Pokemon. But those attacks are actually 2 separate attacks, not 1 combined attack. So if you put Vitality Band on there, it'll boost each individual attack by 10, meaning Jump Off could hit for up to 140 damage in 1 turn, if it has Vitality Band attached. So that's just a really cool combo to use in this deck. There's 3 copies of Fusion Strike Energy, obviously for Accelgor, and 6 copies of Basic Grass Energy. So yeah, super cool deck. It's grass focused, a type we haven't seen too much of, and it's just some really cool combos with Vitality Band and Jump Off and Accelgor and all that. So that's deck number 2. Let's get into our final deck. Our last deck is definitely going to be the most expensive just because it has 2 copies of Genesect V in it, but that doesn't mean it's not a budget deck. It's still very affordable. Genesect V is definitely the most expensive card in this deck, and that's by a long shot. This is another deck that was featured on the channel PokeDripDrop. I'll link to this video as well in the description. He did a super awesome video on it, but I'm going to give you guys a brief deck profile and kind of sort of an edited version to make this a budget deck. So we play Dragapult. It's our main focus in this deck because it's a super powerful attacker. We play a 4-2-4 line of it in here. We start with 4 copies of Dreepy, then we do 2 copies of Dragapult, and we finish with 4 copies of Dragapult. It's a Fusion Strike Pokemon, and its Fusion Strike Assault attack is what this deck revolves around. For just 1 Psychic Energy, we can hit for 30 damage for each of our Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. So if we have a full field of Fusion Strike Pokemon, 180 damage will be the output of Fusion Strike Assault. Don't forget about Power Tablet, we can use that to boost Dragapult's attack damage as well. If we don't have too many Fusion Strike Pokemon in play, however, Speed Attack is nice too. It hits for a solid 120 for just 1 energy more. So Dragapult is nice, but we need lots of Fusion Strike Pokemon to support it by putting them on the bench. So we start with 2 copies of Genesect. You could play a higher count if you want, but to make this a budget deck, I'm running 2 copies, and if you play too many, it kind of messes with the flow of the deck. Genesect V is a Fusion Strike Pokemon, and its ability Fusion Strike system is what makes this card so coveted. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have as many cards in your hand as you have Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. Super cool ability, and obviously we're trying to get a bunch of Fusion Strike Pokemon in play, so the Fusion Strike system allows us to draw a bunch of cards. The other Pokemon we play in this deck, we play 2 copies of Meloetta. So we'll have a lot of Fusion Strike energy out sometimes, and so Melodious Echo allows us to hit for some big numbers if we have enough Fusion Strike energy in play. Meloetta is mostly a filler though, just to have another basic Fusion Strike Pokemon in here. We have 1 copy of Oricorio for its Lesson and Zeal ability that makes our Fusion Strike Pokemon take 20 less damage, which is pretty nice. Then we have a 2-1-1 line of Clamperl, so there's 2 Clamperl, and then there's a Gorbis with Rapid Strike Cancellor. Says your opponent's Rapid Strike Pokemon in play have no abilities, which is awesome. That cancels out Inteleon VMAX and the regular Inteleon as well, so it's super cool. And Huntale has Single Strike Jammer. Your opponent's Single Strike Pokemon's attacks cost 1 more. So it's both super great abilities, and if we have them both out, then we can totally shut down a lot of battle style focused decks. And then we have 4 copies of Fog Crystal to find basic Psychic Pokemon. Level Ball can find some of the Pokemon in this deck as well. Obviously an Ordinary Rod to recycle something if it gets discarded early on. 4 copies of Power Tablet to boost the damage output. And then 4 copies of Quick Ball to find basic Pokemon, 4 Rare Candy to go straight from Dreepy to Dragapult, 3 copies of Old Cemetery to make sure we're getting rid of Path to the Peak so we can use a Genesect, and then also it's great because it forces our opponent to put damage counters on their Pokemon if they're not playing a Psychic deck. We have 3 copies of Boss's Orders. Dragapult can hit for some high numbers, but it's not always enough to take out our opponent's Pokemon, so Boss's Orders can help us target some of the Pokemon that are on the bench. 2 copies of Chili, Silent, and Crest makes total sense because we have all Fusion Strike Pokemon in this deck, so there's a lot of searchability with Chili, Silent, and Crest. There's 2 copies of Marnie and 2 copies of Professor's Research. We play kind of lower counts on Marnie and Professor's Research because we do have Genesect to draw a bunch of cards. 4 Fusion Strike Energy, obviously for Dragapult and Meloetta, and then 4 copies of Basic Psychic Energy just so we can have more energy in the deck, and it's searchable with Fog Crystal. Dragapult's super fun deck to play and takes advantage of the new battle style Fusion Strike. I highly recommend this deck. If you enjoyed these 3 new budget decks, make sure to drop a like on this video, drop a comment down below, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any more Pokemon TCG content, and let me know in the comments which of these budget decks is your favorite or if there's another one you've been playing. That's it from me, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, trainers.